Welcome, everybody, to Michael Maher Live, the most uniquely named show on the face of the planet. My name plus live. That's all I guess I could come up with. But today, and on this show, we just talk about things that are relevant for brands. How do you stay relevant? How do you continue to evolve? It feels like everything's just like coming at us at like a lightning speed, and so we want to help you, brands that are out there, be able to continue to grow and continue to evolve. I own an agency called Cartology. We work with brands and help them to win on Amazon. It's truly what we do. And today I have Noah Knoblauch with me. He's the head of e-commerce and retail media for Suave Brands Company. Welcome. Tell us just a little bit about yourself, man.
Hey, Michael, thanks so much for having me. It's really cool to be able to join you and have that conversation. So I have the pleasure to lead all of e-commerce and retail media for Suave Brands Company. I did all of my career in consumer goods. I started at Procter & Gamble for the first half of my career and did a couple startups. After that, tiny startup called eCloth, and then I worked for Shark Ninja before they went public. And then joined Suave Brands Company right when the company was founded 2.5 years ago. Fun fact: I was actually employee number four, uh,
Wow.
and
Okay.
yeah, we rebuilt everything after the acquisition from the group Yellowwood of the brand Suave out of Unilever. And it's been a fun journey, man. It's been really cool to be able to take a big brand and then just rethink how to go to market to fit today's world and roll with it.
I love the different experiences that you've had, and I think they've all probably suited you really well. Like being able to go to like from a big company like P&G, which has these org structures, which has these really defined roles, and people I think have a clear knowledge of like who does what. And there's probably less blurring of lines, but also sometimes these bigger companies, they, Unilever, whomever, have a tendency to maybe sometimes go a little bit slower because they've got these processes and things in place. And that's something that's helped them in the past. But when it comes to something like e-commerce, especially Amazon, now leaning into that more like startup, agile feel has probably helped you a lot. And we were talking about this before, just before we even went live, just about being able to, move a little bit faster and do stuff. So tell us, like, how do you feel like that's influenced the work that you're doing right now? Because you're working with legacy brands that people know and love, and maybe they have not gotten the love that they needed on the e-commerce side, and so now you're able to use some of that agile methodology.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. The world that we live in today at Suave Brands Company is a hybrid between corporate legacy best practices in terms of how to calibrate brands go to market, but also trying to bring that agility. Because there's a reason why they took it out of Unilever, because they saw the potential and execute it in the most agile way possible. So for me, I had a blank sheet when I started, which was great. So I took over the business and flipped it upside down from an assortment standpoint to make sure that we built the right fundamentals from an e-commerce standpoint with products on Amazon that the PPU and the PPM made sense for the algorithm to pick up and not put ourselves in a situation where each negotiation round we would be squeezed for funding because we were too unprofitable. So making sure that we have a profitable assortment. And then once you have that, it becomes scalable. And so then it was a combination of like putting the right media on the combo of keyword product and making sure that we had our products in the right hands of the consumers. And we started just seeing the business skyrocket just by fixing the fundamentals from a profit and assortment standpoint, and then advertising it correctly, and just adding products that the previous owners didn't think would be a good fit for Amazon. And here we are. We almost tripled the business in 2 years of running Swap on Amazon.
It's amazing.
Um, and then we kind of did the same thing when we bought Chapstick a year ago. We similar playbook where changed the assortment to add flavors, to add new pack sizes in a really fast, agile way, and start advertising where it made sense. And you saw the brand just completely take off.
I think one of the things that's interesting about the Amazon side of things is as Amazon's released more information to us, both in like something like a brand analytics, but also in Amazon Marketing Cloud, there's a lot of good information that's in there, but it can sometimes feel inundated. You feel inundated with info because there's
Yeah.
so much that's there. But Amazon's a last touch attribution system. So anything that any ad that gets the last touch is what's going to, get the attributed sale. And we see a lot of times where brands will like, oh, okay, our return on ad spend is low here, so we're going to pause this ad type. Maybe it's a sponsor brand, maybe it's a sponsor display. But then when you actually go and look at AMC data, you can see, oh, the path to conversion was sponsor products, sponsor brands, sponsor display, back to sponsored products. So the sponsored product ad is what got the attribution. And then that you see the increase in conversion rate once across multiple ad types. That kind of data is super, super powerful. And I think even, agencies that have been around for a little while, they're starting to leverage that AMC data more. How has that influenced some of the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, I think for us, it's there's a lot of data out there, so we're trying to like cut the noise and really focus on the data that makes the most sense. When
Yeah.
we relaunched the brand from scratch, there was a lot of opportunity to look at incrementality, meaning, well, the product didn't have a lot of support. You add support, even though the ROAS might be short in the long term, you get the repeat purchases, and you start evaluating the LTV of your investment. And in some ways, you might be comfortable with ROAS that might be a little lower than your thresholds. But if you put the big picture in play and like how much organic ranking you're going to gain and how much organic sales that's going to
Yeah.
get
Oh,
from just an
100%.
improved like. So I think in today's world where there's so much data, you just have to be focused on what's the right KPIs for you and go back to the fundamentals and not get tripped on every single piece of data that's out there, because you just have to look at your P&L and see really what's going to drive the growth and take a step back and use it with critical thinking.
Yeah. What's going to drive the growth, and which may be more painful in the short term, but that will
Yeah,
ultimately drive the profitability that you're
exactly.
talking about.
That's what you really have to look at it. Like you can't look at it in your traditional ROAS or even the conversion or etc. Like you have to look at it if it makes sense for the overall long-term strategy that you're trying to put in place.
How has that been, just like getting buy-in from everyone on that kind of stuff? Because you're running this hybrid, which seems like it could be super, super efficient for you all. But like, what are some, maybe the better question is like, what are some of the things that unlock a like, oh, like, yeah, okay, this totally makes sense for e-commerce, or makes sense for Amazon? Like, what are some of those unlocks that you see when people finally start to get that?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate that I had flexibility and freedom when we relaunched the business. In the decision making of the assortment, I showed the business case of like why we needed to change the assortment and the upside. I don't think we realized how much upside there was, but when you start growing like double, even like triple digits, that's where you get the buy-in.
That starts to speak. That starts
Then
to speak.
like
So
the
it's
numbers
freedom
just
up
speak.
front. It's freedom up
Uh,
front because you know what you're doing and you're able to make a good business case.
yeah,
And then it's just getting results.
freedom in the framework, the possibility to test and learn. Like that's where sometimes in big companies, just to set up a test, you're talking about 3 to 4 months of internal debate on like what should we test, how does
Yeah.
it look like. Now we just go, we test, and then we double down on things that work.
That to me feels like right on the money. Do we do it? Do we not? And I think that the like testing, and I think the thing that a lot of people, I've been in the e-commerce and Amazon space for the past 15 years, and a lot has changed over that time period.
Man, it's insane.
But it's a lot of testing. Like that really is not. That's one thing that has not changed. Amazon releases some new ad product. We're going to test it. We're going to see how it works, and realize that it working on one brand may not mean that it's going to work on another brand, or how we approach that thing. But it's like these really well controlled tests, and I feel like a lot of times people want to know it's a sure thing, and it's like, well, we can't say that it's going to be a sure thing, but let's give this a shot based on this really strong premise. Like you said, you get this great business case, and then let's go out and execute against it and see what happens.
Exactly. And look, I literally had a conversation this morning with someone who's kind of newer to the e-commerce space, and they were very uncomfortable. Well, what if we invest in this? What happens? And I'm like, yeah, things are very abstract. Like the reality is, you launch a new project because this is a conversation for a market expansion, and like we don't know what the CTR is going to be. We don't know what the
Sure.
conversion is going to be. Like you start, you make assumptions, you run them, you compare it to your assumptions, and then you adjust. You just got to know the variables, and you got to be if we're to win in e-commerce, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like you got to go in the unknowns
Mm,
to like know to learn like okay, this market, this new retailer, or this collection on this new keyword. What's the traffic? Like how many impressions can you actually get? How do people react to your product? Do they like it? Do they don't? Like you measure it through the conversion, and like you can make all the plans in the world as possible. They're all going to go wrong at the beginning because there's no way to like get like what's the right CPC. You've never competed on this keyword, so you don't know what
yeah.
competition is actually bidding against. You know what I mean? So you have just stuff too, like just have a big long-term play and like identify what products are going to meet the demand of which consumers, how to optimize the content for it, and see how people react to ads, and just focus on things that are working to accelerate even more,
Yeah.
and
And I
pivot
think
on the ones that are not working.
And so give it a little bit of time so you can see the results. But then yeah, if something's not working, like, hey, we're not seeing quite what we wanted here. Let's reprioritize that budget. Maybe we'll come back to this test, or we'll try something else. And that's something that we've done with brands where it's like, hey, you're not really converting a ton. This is just an example, like one brand, like you're not really converting a ton on your competitors' search terms when we run them in a sponsored products campaign. But when we target their ASINs, you do so well, and we're able to capture market share from them. And that's just like a small thing. And you're still likely showing up in those, unless you're like super hardcore with negation, you're still showing up for some of their branded searches. But that was something that very early on in a launch we did with a brand at the end of 2023, and we took them to 72 million by the end of 2024. At great household brand, but just were not truly being leveraged. They weren't selling on Amazon, and so we launched them there. And it was like that was early on, like a test. Like, okay, we're not seeing the results we want. We're gonna take this budget and put it elsewhere, and it ended up being the right call. But we never
Exactly.
would have known if we had not tested something and just see what the results were going to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. I
I've
mean,
seen
it's
some. Oh, go ahead.
no. I mean, it's we're taking the same approach right now. We're learning like scaling on TikTok Shop with one of our brands, and that's like just a complete uncharted territory.
Yeah,
And so you got to like test how things work, test the algorithm, understand like the financials, what do they mean for this platform? Is there an implication on the other platforms? Do they have a halo? Like you just and it's going to get more complicated. Like next year, you have agentic commerce. How do you play in that? Like, can you spin up a DDC to plug it into Chat GPT? Does that financials work? And like, how is that going to show up? How are people going to show up? And like, you got to invest. You got to lean in on things that are going to pay out. You just don't know how, and you just don't know when. But things are moving extremely fast today. And if you're not playing in these channels, if you're not testing, you're going to be behind.
yeah. The TikTok thing is interesting because it's a very fast paced channel, and it seems like there's a shift of people not or brands not just wanting to rely, like influencer marketing has of course been around for a little while, and but people are not wanting to just rely upon an influencer because that's like you're buying your audience for 30 days and
Yeah,
hoping that something goes viral. But how do you create more of a community without just being a brand talking to a person, but how do you build a community around that? And that to me would feel like a really big win for TikTok. Like you're able to get something that goes viral and that builds visibility, but then if you get $500,000 in sales because things go crazy, but then they start to dissipate over time because you don't have that community, then it's just a really quick hit of like sugar. You don't have the sustaining thing, the protein at the end of the meal
yeah.
to help make things go better. I don't know if that resonates with your experience at
No,
all.
no, totally. Like it's very challenging. It's extremely hard to forecast because you cannot predict virality.
Great.
And so you're seeding thousands of samples, and you're getting like really like thousands of pieces of content, multiple thousands of pieces of content, and it's just like some of theirs is going to be great, some of it's going to be less good, but it's that's okay. And the ones are going to be really good. Some might even hit really hard, and you like it's going to be one spike that you can't really predict, and you're not going to be able to live too long off of it. But it helps build the brand in the long term. It helps feed the chatter. It helps make it socially relevant, and so it does have a long term compounding effect. But you're going to have those like spike of sugar, like we say, that are going to come in the
Yeah.
way you're going to be you're going to have to be okay, like not being able to know how to replicate that because you can't replicate those moments.
I also feel like sometimes a piece of content you may be like, man, this is just incredible and this is amazing, and it doesn't hit. And then something else that you're like, why? I don't even know why this thing went so crazy. went so
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, like I have an example because I just looked at it this week. Like we launched the campaign and we got really two big pops out of our new chapstick minions. And like one video, the influencer had 1.1 million followers, and
Wow.
like she posted and she had like maybe 85,000 views and around 2,000 likes. And this other influencer posted she had like 45,000 followers, which is still decent. She got over 100,000 views and it got 8,000 likes and 2,000 shares. Like she got way more engagement
Wow. Okay.
than in terms of like and share than since like you say, like you don't know who's gonna pop. Like it doesn't like influencer count obviously is important, follower count because you can reach a big community, but then you just don't know how the content that they're going to make on that day is going to resonate with their audience.
Yeah, and the engagement is so important. If you've got 50,000 followers, but your audience is super engaged and they're liking and they're sharing and all that stuff, then like that to me feels
But that goes way
like a
further than
way
anything
bigger
else.
win than just someone who's got, a million followers and they're like, okay, this is just
Yeah,
another thing for me that I got to do today for
no,
for this
for
brand.
sure. It's
Yeah,
complete like the engagement is really the key thing, and that's what makes it TikTok so powerful is that you're paying for people who are actually like truly consuming the content. Like if you get a lot of likes, it just shows that people actually looked at the video and it's not just an impression for the sake of an impression.
yeah, and that's an important distinction to make because impression could be good for brand awareness. It gets you in the conversation, but it doesn't mean that people are actually engaging with the content.
Yeah, or I mean, or that you're paying for somebody who's actually like watching a video. Like if the videos that you get have less than 1.5 seconds, they're just like it's a swipe. It's not a
Sure.
true impression.
What are your thoughts on collabs, like brands collabing with each other? Like, there's been some really cool. I have a podcast called The Longer Game. I almost forgot what the podcast was called, and I had a woman that was on there, and we were just talking about some collabs that have happened between brands. And I think there was like a lip gloss brand in Tahine that had a collab that just like was so weird and strange, but it worked. And I don't know what your thoughts are on those kind of
Yeah,
collabs, but it seems like they can really bring two communities together that maybe you wouldn't normally expect would be together.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. In today's world, especially on a channel, like because the challenge of a collab in the days before, it's like, hey, how do you bring it to market? How do people know about it? And you have a big enough name, it might hit organically because of the legacy of the brand and whatnot. But today, you don't need to carry that big of a name. If it's fun, if it's cool, like it might just catch conversation and enough virality that it like holds itself. And some brands that are smaller have built a lot of their engagement through collabs. I'm thinking about like Dr. Squatch in the early days. Like they were quick to like launch a Star Wars collection. They were quick to launch, like they started partnering with franchises to create excitement, to bring like community of people into their product, to reach out to different audiences. I mean, the latest collab that was really fun that I saw was the one between Golly, the gut health uh,
Mhm.
food supplement, and Dude Wipes, and they have a like a TikTok shop bundle right now, and like they're making a really fun spin on it, and
That's cool.
like
Yeah, that's
yeah,
exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah,
But you're not thinking about those two brands working together. But it actually makes a lot of sense. What goes in must come out. So
that's the whole thing, man.
yeah, that feels that just feels exciting. You're like you're
Yeah,
creating a little bit more excitement other
it's
than
fun. People are going to laugh about it, and it's going to create like noise, and that's what you want to do. You want to create noise that people care about.
you want to create noise that people care about. Ooh, that's a good soundbite. I might put that on a t-shirt, Noah.
Let's go.
You want to create noise that people care about. But I think that's actually a really great distinction. There is a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
What should I put my eyes and my focus on? And I think beyond just like I don't think people want to be sold to as much, especially younger generations.
No.
This is just my hypothesis, but they don't want to be sold directly to. Whereas like, you know, back in the day, there were like Marlboro ads, and the doctors were like, "This is my favorite cigarette to smoke." I actually told that to someone recently, and they were like, "Doctors were sponsoring cigarettes." I was like, "Yeah, man, it was a wild time." But like you were being sold and talked directly to the brand, but there was still an entertainment portion to it. But it seems like as things have gone more digital, we're just inundated with ads and that entertainment value is not there. And so that to me feels like what's the noise you care about? Something that also entertains me, or maybe it makes me laugh, or maybe it really touches an emotion in me that makes me think, oh, like I want to be a part of whatever this movement is that's associated with this brand.
I think people want, exactly like you said, people want to be part of the process. And they'll want to, if they can relate on the pieces of content that they see, if they can relate on a creative that they see in an ad, because like some traditional ads that have really good creative still perform really well in traditional marketing. There's no doubt in that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to bring the audience to be part of it.
You have to invite them in to that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why TikTok Shop is powerful, because if it's someone in their community that posts the content, they're more likely inclined to like get into it because they can relate to the person. Most likely the person's going to talk about it in a way that the community can relate to, that the brand might not necessarily be able to. And so some of the influencers that you get might not be your stereotype, oh, like perfect brand identity, like I want this person to like reflect my product, or like I would have not chosen this influencer in the first place. But they have a huge community, and you can tap into a group of person that you would have not reached to in the first place if you had not thought out of the box, and you would have never been able to engage with them the way that creator engaged with them.
Well, that's like real people. I think the reason influence or someone can be an influencer matters is because we still believe in, or humans still believe in, word of mouth. Like it's still very, very powerful.
Yeah,
Someone says, "Hey, Noah, I love this brand. You need to check them out." And you know that I've given you good recommendations before, or you just trust me because I'm your neighbor, and so you're willing to check something out. That I mean, that's the ultimate to me, is like people that are just willing to talk. Like if I love a brand, I'm a natural brand ambassador for them. I'm not like, hey, by the way, I've been, talking about your product to my family. Can I get 10% of all the sales that come in? I just like, man, I love this thing. Like you need to go try that. And that's what I think you need to do in both your product, but in the engagement is like, man, you want people to want to share.
yeah. No, it's exactly why the authenticity matters so much on TikTok Shop. And what TikTok Shop gives to brands is an authentic voice that is different than theirs, that still features the product.
Love that. All right. At the end of this, I always like people to come on to give brands out there maybe just like one piece of practical guidance or advice. Like what is something that a brand could do right now today that would help them to, stay ahead, and stay relevant?
Wow, I'm thinking about. I mean, we talked so much about TikTok Shop, so I'm not gonna say that, even though I really think that's the
Yeah.
one thing that they should do.
Hey, it's your
Uh,
piece of advice, man. You can tell people whatever you want.
but no, yeah, I really do think, now that I say it, it's just you have to get on TikTok Shop as fast as you can and fail as fast as you can, so you can learn and pivot. Like we've been trying to go at it for a year and a half now, and we just started cracking the code potentially like since September by bringing a new agency partner in play, and learning in and out. And the social commerce is going to be huge in the next 3 to 5 years, if not even like 1 to 2 year. So the later you start engaging on this platform, like the more disadvantages you're going to get to other brands that have already a leg up on this.
Cool. I love that. I'm actually also excited to see where live shopping goes, because I know that that's something that's like
Yeah,
really big in China, and so something that could potentially work here. And there was an entertainment value to that, as well too. Like think about QVC when someone was
yeah,
showing you the product, and maybe it was funny for like a weird reason because the person didn't know what they were holding or whatever. But like I'm excited to see where that goes too.
yeah. And I'll tell you, like, it has a massive impact on your Amazon business. So like you will
Oh, for
supplement
sure.
your search in like crazy ways by going that. We already done some analysis with the SQP data, seeing like search it for specific keywords that we just advertised on TikTok Shop literally spike the moment the video starts spiking. So it's a full funnel activation.
Yeah, people are discovering stuff in so many different
Yeah,
ways, but they're still going to go and search and want to actually convert on
absolutely.
Amazon. Well, you heard it here first. Be willing to try new things and fail fast, but
Yeah.
specifically get on TikTok Shops and just
And
figure
make
it
noise
out
that people care about.
and make noise that people care about. That's exactly right. That's all we got for you, people. We're out.
I